Pearl's magical journey between two worlds.
Have you ever dreamed of exploring a world different from your own? Let's dive into the magical underwater kingdom of Coralia, where our story begins. In the deepest part of the ocean lived a little mermaid named Pearl. She had shimmering scales that sparkled like rainbows and long flowing hair that danced with the currents. Pearl was the youngest of 7 mermaid princesses, and she was always full of curiosity about the world above the waves. Every day, Pearl would swim to the surface and watch the big ships sail by. She loved to collect treasures that fell from these vessels: shiny forks, colorful bottles, and even the occasional music box. Her family didn't understand her fascination with the human world. "Why do you waste your time with those silly human things?" her sisters would ask. But Pearl couldn't help it. She longed to know more about the world beyond the sea. On her 16th birthday, Pearl's grandmother gave her a special gift, a magical pearl that granted one wish. "Use it wisely," her grandmother said with a knowing smile. That very night, a terrible storm raged above the waves. Pearl saw a ship in trouble and swam closer to watch. Suddenly, she spotted a young prince fall overboard. Without hesitation, Pearl dove to save him. She brought him safely to shore, and as she watched him from behind a rock, she felt her heart flutter. "I wish I could walk on land and meet him," Pearl whispered to herself. At that moment, the magical pearl began to glow. In a swirl of bubbles and light, Pearl's tail transformed into 2 human legs. Excited but nervous, Pearl took her first steps on the sandy beach. It felt strange and a little painful, but she was determined to explore this new world. As she walked towards the prince's castle, she realized she couldn't speak. Her voice was gone. The kind prince found Pearl on the beach and took her in, not knowing she was the one who had saved him. He showed her his kingdom, and Pearl was amazed by all the wonderful things she saw. Flowers that didn't sway in the water, birds that soared through the air, and music that didn't need the ocean's waves to carry its tune. Days passed, and Pearl and the prince became good friends. But Pearl missed her family and the sea. She tried to tell the prince who she really was, but without her voice, it was impossible. The prince was kind and cared for Pearl, but his heart belonged to another princess from a neighboring kingdom. One day, Pearl's sisters appeared at the shore. They had traded their beautiful hair to the sea witch for a chance to help Pearl. "You can return to the sea," they told her through gestures, "but you must choose before the sun sets today." Pearl was torn. She loved her new friends and the wonders of the human world, but she also missed her home and family. As the sun began to set, Pearl knew what she had to do. She hugged the prince goodbye and ran to the shore. Just as the last rays of sunlight disappeared, Pearl dove into the waves. In a shimmer of magic, her legs became a tail once more, and she could speak again. "I'm home," she said, hugging her sisters tightly. When she returned to her underwater palace, Pearl shared stories of her adventure with her family. They listened in wonder, finally understanding her curiosity about the world above. Pearl realized that her journey had taught her to appreciate both worlds, the one she came from and the one she had explored. From that day on, Pearl became a bridge between the sea and land. She used her knowledge to help merpeople and humans understand each other better. She taught her people about the beauty of the world above, and she helped humans learn to care for the ocean and its creatures. Pearl had followed her dreams and learned valuable lessons along the way. She discovered that being true to yourself doesn't mean you have to choose one world over another. Sometimes you can belong to both. As Pearl swam through the crystal clear waters, she smiled. She knew that her curiosity and bravery had not only changed her life, but had also brought 2 different worlds closer together. And so, dear children, remember Pearl's story. It's okay to be curious about new things and to follow your dreams, but also remember to appreciate where you come from and the people who love you. Like Pearl, you too can find a way to embrace all the parts of who you are. The next time you visit the beach, listen closely. You might just hear Pearl singing her beautiful songs, sharing the wonders of both land and sea with anyone who's willing to listen. And who knows, maybe one day you'll have your own amazing adventure, just like the little mermaid named